Hello everyone, welcome to my channel, The Urban Woman. I thank you all for tuning in to this read. I'm going to do a reading here for this upcoming Mercury retrograde, which began on September the 10th and goes all the way through October the 2nd. So if you are interested in a reading that's more geared to you and your zodiac sign, the zodiac readings have been posted to my YouTube channel, which is The Urban Woman Tarot and Oracle. If you like more readings like this that don't use the tarot, you're welcome to follow me on Facebook, which is The Urban Woman. I believe on Facebook it's just The Urban Woman. So I am posting this reading to both pages though. So just so you know, if you are YouTube watching this, the ones where I use the Oracle decks, those readings there, I mainly just post on Facebook. So, but I wanted to post this on both just to tap in, give everyone an update on what we can expect during this Mercury retrograde. And I'm going to do a Celtic crossbred reading with the Soul's Journey lesson cards. If I feel the need, I'm going to clarify some of them with this Kipper deck. Just know that when I'm glad that I am not the only one that feels this way about this Kipper deck. So I'm glad to hear that people like Tyler's Tarot has a strange relationship with this Kipper deck, because I'm telling you, the moment I break this Kipper deck out, things start to get a little wonky, and it's different. Love the deck though, love the deck, but you know, it can get a little wonky. Okay, so just keep that in mind. And then I'm going to pull a one card message from the Isis Oracle deck, because I usually do full moon readings with this deck. But since I'm not doing one and I'm just doing the Mercury retrograde reading, and this is the first time that I have ever done a Mercury retrograde reading, but it's kind of just been in the back of my mind, so I thought I would go ahead and take action. So here we are. But just know that, especially if you're on Facebook, I have not forgotten about my Facebook page or my Facebook peeps. I have been busy doing the zodiac readings, getting them on YouTube, and then now I have an at-home business making soaps, and I just started trying out candles. So I've got that going on because I have a fair coming up this Saturday, so I've got a lot to do to get ready for that. If you are interested in things like that, feel free to like and follow my page on Facebook. It's More Bubbles, and More is named after the county that I live in, so it's M-O-O-R-E, so double O. And then if you want to check out my website, I am getting the products made right now, so they're going to be uploaded to the website by the day, and my website is morebubbles.com. So if you would like to learn more about essential oils, be looking for me on TikTok probably by the end of this month, maybe, is what I'm hoping. And on TikTok I will be More Bubbles NC for North Carolina, so look for me there. Alright, so let's get started and see what this Mercury retrograde has in store. So just so you know, it starts out with a highly sensitive Pisces moon, which makes you want to feel, it makes you want to mourn, and it makes you want to love and dream big. Your sentiments, your emotions, your intuition are your biggest guides during this full moon. Leave your brilliant mind at the door and walk into your closet of feelings, where you're even afraid to hang your coat. This full moon in Pisces represents where we're all headed, the age of Pisces. This begins when Saturn exits the sign of Aquarius and enters the mutable water sign of Pisces on March 7th, 2023. So, currently, there are 6 planets in retrograde. including the personal planet of Mercury. All of the outer planets are retrograde. Mars, which is how we get things done, is in its shadow and has been since August the 20th. When it reached 8 degrees and 8 minutes of the mutable air sign of Gemini, is where it will be all the way through March 26th. Mercury retrogrades from September the 10th through October the 2nd, when it stations direct at 24 degrees of Virgo. So Mercury initially retrograded in the cardinal air sign of Libra, which deals with partnerships and justice. Whenever Mercury retrogrades, it can bring up ghosts from your past, whether you hear from them directly, hear about them, or have a vivid dream or memory that brings them to mind. I would just tell you that usually when someone shows up in my dream, I usually hear from them within about 3 days. I don't know if this applies to you, but also keep in mind I am a Pisces, so I always take that as like a premonition, a heads up to get ready for their contact or for them to reach out. But, you know, that can also be, if you're having that pop up, then also keep in mind, too, that a lot of times that can also be because they are thinking about you as well. So, especially if you have a tie, like a soul tie or one of those energetic cords to them, that tends to cause that to happen. So, when Mercury's in retrograde in Libra, this can definitely bring up ghosts from the past, different types of relationships or people you once knew. It can also cause strife in existing relationships. This is as a cosmic invitation to reassess how you want to partner with others and how you want to be treated. If there is a relationship you want to heal, try to use this as an opportunity to discuss things that need to be discussed. Albeit with caution, because Mars in Gemini can say harsh things without really thinking about it. You got to keep in mind that Mars is like the Lord of War. So, you know, Mars is in retrograde, and that can cause people to really act out and speak out in anger. Mercury will retrograde in 2 signs. Both signs will feel it. So Mercury returns to the mutable earth sign of Virgo on September the 29th and stations direct on October the 2nd, which is like 24 degrees and 12 minutes of Virgo. So Virgo rules both Gemini and Virgo. While it is in Virgo, it is a time to focus on your work, your habits, your health, and how you can be of service to others. Mercury loves being in both of the mutable signs. In Gemini, it pours out in every direction, while in Virgo, it's more analytical and observant. It is methodical. While Mercury retrogrades in both of the sign of Libra and Virgo, this is a time to reevaluate your relationships, your productivity, and your regimens. I find it funny because I have been spinning without any direction, regiment, or habits. With Mars in Gemini, which is ruled by Mercury, I find my thoughts stream through without interruption, and it's hard to pause. It's very hard to write and focus, but try my best. When there are so many planets retrograde, it can feel difficult to move ahead. So, this is another big journey we all must embrace, but it's already in the air. Mars will be out of bounds from October 22nd through May 4th, which means that it exceeds the sun's outer limits and is out of control. It does not play by the rules. Mars will remain in Gemini, the majority of its being out of bounds, which means that you really want to be extra mindful with your words and how you communicate. Much more than just when Mercury is retrograde. People could be extra harsh with their words. People could even be more careless on the roads, as Gemini rules local travel and transportation. So, while Mercury goes direct on October the 2nd, it does so with an opposition to Neptune within a degree. Again, your practical mind may have to suspend disbelief, and some habits or practices in which you engage will either be dissolved or based on your intuition. Your intuition is as much of an ally now as your cognitive mind. When Mars retrogrades, it's a far bigger deal. It only retrogrades once every 2 years. It is also a personal planet. Mars is the planet of life force, ambition, drive, and energy. When Mars is in Gemini, there are a lot of choices. When it retrogrades, it makes it more challenging to make the choices. When Mars is retrograde, it's not an ideal time to launch new projects. It's a better time to reconsider how you can learn and be more effective in your communication and marketing while retrograde in Gemini. Time to reassess your choices and strategize when it's best to make them. Alright, so as this full moon that calls to you with love, this is a full moon for all of us. This is a moon for the strays, the abandoned, the hopeless, and the dreamers. This is a full moon that embraces all of us. So keep in mind, Mercury retrograde is currently in Libra. So realizing that relationships are what get us through, even when we do not always get along. The full moon occurred at 17 degrees and 41 minutes of Pisces in the 7th house of relationships. It is sandwiched between Juno, the asteroid that represents relationships, as well as Neptune, the modern ruler of Pisces, the planet of dreams and limitless and imagination. So purge the sadness, but make sure to feel the feelings, as this is what helps to heal. This is a time to be extra kind to yourself and others, because this moon is all about love. Alright, so that little snippet right there I got from astrologer Tish Aitken. I will put their name in the description box below, because that is one person that I have followed and learned a lot from. And if you like astrology, then like the page for them. And like I said, that's on Facebook. There are 2 astrology people that I have started following on TikTok. I'm not exactly sure of their names. I think one of them is The Astrology Guy. He is a white guy with curly hair, and he is funny. He makes little, TikToks on every sign, about each zodiac sign, personality traits and all this stuff. And he also talks about, like, when the moon is full and what sign it's in, and like the upcoming retrogrades. Now there's also another guy, and I don't remember his name. He is a black guy, and he has, like, I think he keeps his head, like, shaved. His TikTok videos are hilarious. So in his, like, he will change filters each little segment, but like I said, his TikToks are freaking hilarious. I love watching him. He's very comical in them, and he's blunt. He's just, I love his energy. But like I said, I can't remember his name. So if I come across him, I'll post his information in the description box for you. Alright, so let's get started. We're going to see what this Mercury retrograde has in store for us. Okay. Whoa! Okay, so some of these, I'm sure you're going to be able to see these, I hope, but I am going to go over them. Okay, so we start with doubt. I released the need to know all the answers. So I'm just going to tell you this. I'll say this. I have had times where Mercury has gone retrograde, and, like, for example, my soap business, okay? There has been several times over the past course of like 5 or 6 years where I've been like, okay, I want to do this soap business. I'm going to get this started, get it going. And then it's like Mercury retrograde comes about, and it's like the whole freaking time. Okay, so just to give you a heads up, the Amazon people have pulled up, and my dog is probably going to bark. So if you will just, bear with me here. I apologize. So, and of course he's arisen from his slumber. So, there have been times where, I had all this wants, these desires to accomplish these things. And then it's like, Mercury retrograde comes in, and it's like the switch like got flipped. And it's like, I no longer wanted to do that anymore. So, don't start. No, sir. You are fine. You quit. So, you may feel like, especially if you have, and because, stop, now that's enough. You're fine, chill out. Hey, go lay it down. Over there. Lay down. My dog, he never barks unless there's somebody in my yard. So it's, So he is a great dog, but, he's also protective of his house, which is the reason why I got him, was for protection. So he's just doing his job. So with that being said, you may have, and then too, so Mercury retrograde is in Libra, which is all about our relationships, give and take, justice and injustice, or unjust. I think it's injustice. So you may have doubts about either a relationship, or you may have doubts about like your goals, whatever that is challenging you this month with bringing success and change. I heard a reading the other day from a lady, I think her name is Boss Lady Tarot. She did a reading for the collective, and her reading, if I'm not mistaken, said that there was like a business venture, something that, like in that reading itself, there was a business venture and goals that, the reader, the watcher was trying to accomplish, which applied to myself. And she said that, we were being challenged by either a blockage in our creativity, or we were being challenged by feeling tired and not necessarily having the energy to put into it to, get it off the ground or get it up and going. And she said, to keep going, because once we broke through that block, that creative block, success was going to be at hand for us. And it was just, all a part of the process of getting through those creative blocks. But on the other side of those blockages was success. So I don't know what kind of change, the basis here of this reading is change. The root of it, there's change before you this whole month. And that's the thing with like Mercury retrograde. It will come in, and however you had everything, it will flip shit upside down. You'll see things this way, but then when Mercury retrograde comes in, it goes like this. There have been times when Mercury retrograde has happened in my life, and I felt like I was in the fucking Twilight Zone for 3 weeks. Lord, it almost drove me crazy. When I tell you it almost drove me crazy, it almost drove me crazy. I had to really have mental conversations with myself more times than usual on a daily basis, just to keep myself sane. And it wasn't necessarily that like I was like, I'm not going to say it wasn't that I was crazy. I mean, of course, we're all a little mad in here, like the Mad Hatter says. So, I mean, I know that I can have crazy tendencies. I mean, we all do. But it was like the energy that was around me was just crazy. Like, people were acting crazy. People were driving crazy. And then I know I read, from the astrologer that You know, with Mars being retrograde, that people are more aggressive in their driving. I noticed that. I have definitely noticed that. So it's like there is change before you this month, but you could be blocking your success by doubt. So, doubt here. Repeat this with me. I release the need to know all the answers. And that right there really goes hand in hand with these other cards up here. I'll get to those in a second. Now, for success, repeat this. I know that there is no greater goal than to love. And in the base of it, the root, the change, repeat this. I understand that nothing can grow or evolve without movement. Now, I'm just going to tell you, stay balanced throughout this energy, because if things are one way coming into it, they could very well get mirrored or flipped or reversed. Because keep in mind, Mercury retrograde is all about those words that we can put a RE in front of. So I like how I threw that reverse in there, because that is an RE. Mercury retrograde is all about, reevaluation, reflection, re-strategizing, restructuring. It's not a time of action. And that could also be a thing too that is here blocking you, is that you may feel like not really doing anything, and that's Mercury retrograde, because it does affect us. It is going to affect our mind, which, our mind, our thoughts then have power and effect over us. So like a Mercury retrograde, if you refuse to do the work of like that reflection, that re-strategizing, restructuring, if you refuse to do that, you will get burnt out. You will be so tired that you can't do nothing but sit your ass on the couch. That is Mercury retrograde. It does that to you. There was one Mercury retrograde like about 8-9 years ago. I sat on the couch and didn't do shit for like 3 weeks just because I had no energy. But, I was living in one state, and it was a time for me to leave that state and to move back home. And let me tell you, when I left home, I said I would never come back to this place. But here I am. I am back home. I'm actually in my childhood home as we speak. So that time when it was like I couldn't do nothing but sit on the couch, I had to mentally, I think this is why, how it kind of lined up and played out. They say everything happens for a reason. And I feel like, that Mercury retrograde in particular, I had to really reflect and rethink about, closing a chapter in that state and closing my life out there. And then also, reevaluating what I was going to do when I came back here. Because things were going to be different. Living there, I lived in the city life, and where everything was fast and go, 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 and everything was easy, to where, I come back here and it's more country, and everything's, is slowed down a little bit. It's more relaxing. And, it's for here, for me, living there in that city environment, it was easy for me to be self-employed. It was easy for me to make money. And I made great, phenomenal money there in that state. But here, where I live here in the country, it's a little bit harder to make money being self-employed. So, or at least it is for me. I have always struggled in that, and I think that's a block that I have here in this area. So, I'm working through that. And here it is. I feel like I'm on the verge of this success. And, I know that I do have doubt in the back of my mind that this can work. But, if I don't get this going, then I'm going to, torture myself about not getting it off the ground. So, I'm literally, trying to do everything I can to get this business up and going and make it a success. So with that is going to bring change. And I welcome change because, I mean, who wouldn't want change, you know? You're always on the wheel of life, the circle of life, or the wheel of fortune, you know? What goes up must come down. And our life is a phase, you know? We go through phases. Sometimes we're going to be in stagnant energy. Sometimes we're going to be go, 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 go. Sometimes we're going to be really successful. And then there's going to be times where, you know, karma comes in and it knocks us down a notch or two. And that happens. That's life. And how do you just have to really check in with yourself, focus on your self-talk, have those conversations. You yourself are your own best cheerleader. So you have got to be your own best cheerleader. You can't listen to the other people or the naysayers. When I started my other business in that other state where I lived, I would tell people, because when I first moved there, I moved there knowing that I wanted to start this business and I wanted it to be right there. So when I first moved there, I didn't have all the money that I needed. So I got a weekend bartending job. And that money there, I set aside to save for that business. So I bartended for like 2.5, almost 3 years, and I saved that money. And, you know, all the people that I told about this business I was going to start, I mean, I was probably like 24, 25. You know, they all were telling me, oh, you won't succeed. You're just wasting your money. I heard that. Out of 10 people I told that to, 8 of them were like, oh, you won't succeed. You're just wasting your time and money. And then, you know, thankful for other people around, because other people around would be like, how dare you say that to her? Like, how's she going to know if she doesn't give it a try? You know, money comes and goes. It's not our life force. And, you know, that right there always stuck out to me. The people that were like that stood up and said, hey, you know, those are the type of people that you want in your corner. But that's the type of conversation you need to be having with yourself in your mind. So the first week of this Mercury retrograde, we start out with love. I commit to the practice of seeing the good in all things. So now, you know, that astrologer did say that we are in the sign of Libra, which is about relationships. So you could be seeing that, you know, people are more open and communicative or whatever to each other. You could be feeling this love dynamic into a manner of where it is helping you to commit to bringing this success about. Because whatever this success is that's waiting for you, it's going to bring about a huge change. You know, it's almost like, I feel like a level up here. I will tell you, there's also another motto that I have adhered to, and that's my comeback game. You know, because there's times when we take 5 steps forward, we get knocked 2 or 3 steps back. Let me tell you, when you get knocked back 2 or 3 steps, don't take that as, you know, oh, here it is, I got knocked down. Maybe I'm supposed to be down. Because I'm telling you, it's almost like, I take it as, if you get knocked back a few steps, maybe the steps you took to get there, you may have missed something. So you have to go back, retrace your steps a second, and pick up the pieces or the things that you lost, and because they were meant to come with you. And maybe you had your focus was somewhere else, and you missed those things. So it's like, you know, the universe will knock you back sometimes so that you can course correct, or be like, oh yes, I forgot, I got to get these, and take them with you. So the second week of this Mercury retrograde, which is like the 19th through the 25th, we have surrender. So this is where you really have to, and you know, the second week is usually the toughest week of Mercury retrograde. So if you feel that it's like really tough on you, it may be time to release and let go and just surrender to the energies at hand. So this card says, repeat this affirmation: I can release my need to control. If you are one of those that tries to control situations, Mercury retrograde Mercury retrograde does not like control. I'll put it to you like that. If you're one of those that has control, then has to have control, then just know that about that second week in Mercury retrograde, pay attention, because this is more like Mercury retrograde will bring in delays. I mean, it's like you know that you've got to be somewhere in 30 minutes. Your ass better leave like 15 minutes ahead of time. That's how Mercury plays out when it's in retrograde. It slows things down. And it's like it will put hiccups on your path. So like your phone won't work right. If you have like a phone or a computer that messes up, do not take it back. Do not return it. Do not turn it in or anything until after Mercury goes direct, which is like October the 2nd. Because a lot of times that's just Mercury and it's retrograde. It fucks with electronics. So your electronics are a huge significator of what Mercury retrograde does. All right? So surrender and release and allow, because then once you move into that last week of Mercury retrograde, we find balance. So I feel like the first week and the third week are really good, but that second week, you may find that you're a little burnt out in that second week, or maybe your control habits are just trying to like override. So just know you might be more tired in that second week, but we have balance at the end. I bring a state of perfect harmony into my world, and I do so without judgment. All right, so your advice, I knew this card was going to come up, is empathy. So repeat this affirmation: I am open to seeing both sides of a situation. So whatever you're dealing with this month, look at all perspectives. Look at both sides to every story. Because even with the energy of Mercury retrograde, and plus we've got 6 fucking planets in retrograde. Like Neptune's in retrograde. You know how usually when Neptune is regular, we have on rose-tinted glasses. But when Neptune goes retrograde, the rose-tinted glasses come off, and we actually see things for what they are. So, and we're in that energy right now. I think it began like sometime in August. So, and if I'm not mistaken, it's retrograde until like the end of October. Maybe even December. So, you know, you're able to now actually see things for face value and for exactly what they are. There is no sugarcoating with Neptune being in retrograde during this retrograde. So, be open to seeing both sides of the situation and being empathetic toward others. But I feel like this is something that will come naturally to you. In your environment, we have service. Repeat this: I feel good when I can help others. They always say, I've always read that when you feel stuck or like you're not able to really push forward and do anything, it's a good time to focus on service. Like, especially when you have doubts, like those creative blocks, when you can focus on service and help other people, for some reason, that service, that work, and things that you do for other people, it helps to push through and break through those barriers and those creative blocks. So you may, in your environment, things that are outside of you during this Mercury retrograde, especially if you are trying to start like a business here on your own, then whatever it is, it's of service to other people. So if you can focus on service to other people, it is going to help you feel good. And it will help you break through some of these blockages, especially this doubt. Alright, so we have hopes and fears around relationships. Repeat this affirmation: I am attracted to those people who serve my highest good. I told myself the other day that yes, there are people that are not good for me, those are the ones that I am like, I feel a tie to, or a pull to, or I'm drawn to. And there is a guy on TikTok who has like this big long pole thing, and he blows into it. It's like a gong or something, and he's like on an island somewhere. So he blows into that gong, and it's like bung, and I love it. So he said the other day in one of his TikToks that you can hug someone, like especially if you're a female, you can hug a man, and then it's like when you step out of their energy, their energy is still on you for a little while. So that energy, you can carry it with you. If you don't know how to release that energy or to clear it off of you, then it can be stuck with you and you're carrying it around. And I thought, holy cow, I noticed, I went on a date one time, and this person's energy was in my mind, in my body, more so my sexual organs. And I kept sitting there thinking, this person is not good for me. I don't want this person. And I kept thinking, but God, I've got to get rid of, this shit. I got to quit thinking about him. And I've got to quit wanting and having these desires for him, because really I don't want him. And then I put two and two together, and I'm like, you know what? His energy is on me. That's what it is. So I did a saging and a lemon cleanse. And it took a minute, but it finally released itself. So this lemon cleanse thing, if you can find a lemon, you rub it all over your body, talk to it, tell it to dispel the negativity, and then set it on a counter somewhere until now if it molds and rots, then you need to do it again. But if it just dries up and dies, then it done its job. Okay, you can also do that in different rooms of your house. Take the lemon, walk it around the corners, put it over areas, and talk to it, tell it to absorb the negativity, give it thanks, and then set it in the room in a spot and watch it. If it starts to mold, then the energy is heavy in that room and you need to do it again. But if the lemon starts to dry out and die, then the lemon has done its job. Woo! All right, our outcome is growth. So this Mercury retrograde is really this change that this Mercury retrograde is bringing in is going to cause us to grow and to level up. And you see that thing where I said my comeback game is strong, my glow up is strong. My comeback game is strong, and that's what I like. Sometimes, when I get knocked down a few steps, I have found that the surrender and the release in that is really good for me now, because I've been practicing a lot, because I know and I have trust in my comeback game. I love my comeback game, okay? My comeback game, it doesn't matter how hard I fall, because my comeback game is on point for some reason. And I know that growth and that change, that evolution that I go through for the comeback, my bounce back, my comeback, I know it's heaven sent. I know the universe works in mysterious ways, and those things right there are necessary. And I have learned to really love the fall, because I know that when I bounce back and come back, that it's even better. Okay, so looking at the bottom of the deck, we need to practice more acceptance. I am learning to accept things that I cannot change. And here's change and here's surrender. So if there are things in your life that you are feeling like you can't change, then maybe you need to surrender to the need of trying to control the change and allow those things to change naturally on their own. So here is an acceptance. We've got peace, envy, and courage. I am a being of love, and I release all negative energy. I am the same as everybody, but with different challenges. So, you know, sometimes we look at other people and we're like, gosh, I wish I had that. But you know what? You know, when they have that, sometimes the things they had to go through to get that, you don't want and you don't need. So remember that we're the same as everyone, but we've got our own unique individual path. We have our own unique individual blueprint. And it's like, you know, what you have to endure to get the things you want, this other person over here probably, more than likely, wouldn't be able to endure what you have endured to get to where you are. And the same thing, vice versa for them. So we're unique to our own path. And then courage. I find the inner strength to face fear with confidence. You have to remember that fear, it's just a fear. If you release and surrender to it, allow it to consume you, it's almost like once you surrender to fear, there's an acceptance that comes in. You accept it for what it is, and then it's like, you know what, it didn't kill me. So then the growth you go through and the comeback that springs out of that is always amazing, that growth. All right, so our message from the Isis Oracle, portal of light. Look at her. There's a portal behind her that's opening up. It's orange, just like this growth card. Her hand is out to you. She is like, take my hand, come with me. Okay, so Isis here. She glides on wings through time and space. I will read this card. I do love this card here. This is the peas. I wish this book was just a little bit more functional, but it is what it is. And okay, here she is. Okay. It is only this physical reality that is bound by time and space. You are being conscious on levels beyond the physical world. You are guided to work with your healing powers beyond the confines of time and space and to allow your sense of self to expand. It is safe for you to do this now. You will not become ungrounded through such spiritual growth. You are not leaving your earthly awareness. You are instead adding to it. Daggone, boy. So, you know, she is calling you to guide you to use the powers and abilities in yourself to heal yourself and to heal others. So maybe this is something, that growth and that change that you are growing through at this time. Oh, Lord. Okay. The bottom of the deck, we have life restored. Priestess of the Phoenix. So whatever, something must have almost about, I'm going to say almost about damn near killed you, or something happened that really put, and then look, and then Gangster's Paradise comes on. So what have you been through? You've been through something where it took a toll on you. It set you back a little bit. Whatever it is, your life force from that is being restored. This is the rise of the phoenix. This is birthing anew. Alright, so we have power over 7 scorpions. Power to conjure lower vibrational forces. So with this card here, this means that whatever poison is around you, it doesn't matter what it is, you have the power to get control over it, to conjure it, to change it. Use your imagination. You know, let's say, for example, this would be like Jean Grey from X-Men. Okay, you know how Jean Grey, she's got, what is that, telekinesis or the mental thing? Use your mental imagination. If you see something that you know you need to like take charge over, to conjure it, to change it, allow your mind to envision it, to create, to hold power over it, to destroy it, or to give life to it, or to change it, if that makes sense to you. Like I once had, you know, I felt like I had lower vibrational things around me. So in my mind, I became like Isis here, because I pulled this card in that time frame. I became like her. So in my mind, I took on, like, I metamorphosed into like the chick in this picture. Like, I became her. And in my mind, I raised my hands and I thought to myself, you know, I'm taking power over these lower vibrational forces, and I gathered them with my hands, and when I grabbed a hold of them, I gave thanks to them and gratitude, and then I kind of like ho'oponono their asses into oblivion with my mind. So I did that, and and to me, that worked. Like, I felt a sense of relief after that I had actually, you know, done that. But I just used my imagination to, you know, have power over it and to conjure it and to work my magic. We also have stay true and be in your power. Osiris and Isis, Lord and Lady of divine authority. So, and then we have initiation, spiritual testing of Ra and the Lady Isis. So look, whatever you went through was somewhat of initiation. So you, I would think, have passed the test, especially if you feel like you've been through the ringer in some way, shape, and form of your life. Whatever that was, it was an initiation. You passed the test. Now you need to clear out the old, because you're like the phoenix rising from the ashes. How things were in the past, there's no room for that no more. They're not good. They can't coexist in the new or what's before you. So you somewhat have to have like a spiritual burial ceremony for those things, whether they are people, whether they are places, whether they are things, whether they are even like facets of your personality or just like an energy. So it's time to bless them and give them thanks and to send them off, and now be open and receptive to the new stuff that's coming in. This growth card. All right, Kipper Deck, what can you tell us about this growth card? Okay, so one card flipped out, and then another card flipped over. So we have community and despair, and toil and labor, child, imprisonment, change, and family room. I knew family room was going to come out too. All right, so for you, this growth, you may be over here working and toiling away at your craft, yourself, whatever that is, okay? But trust me, whatever work you're doing on this is not in vain. Now, whatever work this is that you're doing within yourself, it is going to affect your community, especially if you have members in your community that have control issues and they like to Lord, my dyslexia. See, this Mercury retrograde does that to me. So your community may be in despair because they can no longer control or manipulate you. Okay? Now, whatever this is that's bringing about this growth that you're going through here, it is definitely, you definitely have the eyes of your community and your family upon you. Okay? They're watching you. They are seeing a change. You might actually be moving house or relocating. And if that's not the case and you're not moving house and you're not relocating, then there is a huge change before you where it's like out with the old, in with the new. And whatever this here is, people aren't going to be able to control you and manipulate you and to get away with things like they used to. And whatever this change is, it's going to make you feel like a little girl or a little child again, or a little boy. That innocence, it will be bringing that back. So this growth over here where we have toil and labor card, this might be in business. Like if you're starting your own business, go for it. Because whatever you are working your little ass off to do, like this, like how she is. I mean, she's like, she looks impoverished. She looks, you know, very tired. She's been working all night and all day, okay? But whatever she's doing, it's bringing about this growth. And look, this little girl, they look like the same people. So, you are the child in, I mean, and look, if you have children, then know that, especially if you have a little girl, whatever you're working on over here, it's going to affect her in a good way. Whatever you're working on in this growth that you're going to go through from this work, it's going to make you into a much better mom or mother than I think you've envisioned. And whatever that growth is for you as a mom, your child, your daughter, is really going to see that and take notice, and she's going to look up to you, and it's going to make her very happy. Just because you're happy. Like, you have to, I mean, the thing about kids, I want my child to see me happy. Because when I'm happy, I'm a good parent. You know, when I'm sad and I'm down, I can't be a good parent. When I'm sad and down, I neglect myself. And I know I neglect my child when I'm sad and I'm down. So it's like, you know, you have to make sure that you yourself are in good, like, mental health, that you're stable. Because when you do that, your children see how strong you are. And when they see that you're strong like that, they feel like you're invincible, that you can just do anything. And that makes a happy child. So, I hope you enjoyed this reading and that it helped you. Behind this card over here, I would like to say, is the sudden wealth card. And there is a man in this picture. A main man. So, whatever you have been working on within your house, like, especially if you go to your family room, like if there is a room in your house where everyone gathers, there was something done in that room. Whether you sat there and contemplated and thought and worked out and made notes and journaled and you came up with a plan in this family room, whatever it was, it's going to bring you wealth. So, keep going. Keep pushing, keep persevering. Alright, so if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you would like to leave a tip, that information is in the description box below. I love you guys. Thank you, and I will see you all again here soon. Take care, and namaste.